Chapter 5. Jan and Ivan. 2 years passed without news of Edek. Ruth and Bronia returned to Warsaw each winter and went back to the forest in the summer. But in the summer of 1944, the skis were full of planes and they could hear bombs falling in the city. Though the children did not know it, the Russian army was moving west and the battle for Warsaw was beginning. By January 1945, the Nazis were gone and the city was in the control of the Russians. The winter, Ruth and Bronia had waited in the forest because of the fighting, but now they came back into the city. The Warsaw the Warsaw that they had known had disappeared. Bomb had destroyed the buildings, and there were not streets left. Somehow they found the cellar, which had been their home for 2 years. The chairs and bed had gone, but they had brought their blankets from the forest. Then some boys in Ruth's school mended the table and made chairs from boxes, and lessons began again. One day, Bronia came running into the cellar. There's a boy lying down outside, and I don't think he can get up. She said, I never see him before. The boy was lying on some stones. Ruth thought he might be an any age between 9 and 13. His face was thin and white, and his eyes were closed. A thin crocodile stood beside the boy's head, making noises at anyone who went near him. Ruth chasing the crocodile away. Does anyone know him? She asked the children. Nobody did. He looked ill from hunger, said Ruth. Yankel, will you help me lift him down to the cellar? Eva, find him something to eat. Some soups, some soup if you can get it. They carried the boy down the cellar, and after a few minutes he opened his eyes. Where's Jimpy? He said. Suddenly the crocodile appeared in a hole in the wall, and jumped down beside the boy. Jimpy, Jimpy, cried the boy, and reached out towards the bird. What's your name? Asked Ruth. Won't tell you, said the boy. Look, Eva brought you some soup, said Ruth. You will feel better in a minute. Sit up and drink it. A girl pushed through the crowd at the door. She had a small wooden box in her hands. I found this in the streets, she said. I think it's his. Give it to him, said Ruth. The boy took the box and smiled. Everyone wanted to look inside, but he wouldn't open it. But he told them his name, it was Jan. For some days, Jan was too ill to live. Then, when he was better, he didn't want to go. So he made his home with Ruth and Bronia and became one of the family. He carried the box everywhere, but he never opened it. Several streets away, a new Russia war had appeared. One afternoon, Ruth went there. I want to see your officer, she said to the guard standing outside. The whole the whole of Warsaw wants to see my officer, said the guard. Run away and play, little girl. I'm not a little girl, said Ruth. I will be 18 next week. The guard smiled. Well, because it's your birthday next week, I will ask him. He went into the court, then came out a few moments later. My officer said, come back the next year after next. But before he could stop her, Ruth pushed past him into the hut. Inside, an officer sat behind a desk. Come out, shouted the guard. All right, Ivan, said the officer. I will talk to her. He looked at Ruth. What do you want? I want food and clothes and blankets, pencil and paper. I have got 16 children. The surprised officer nearly fell off his chair. 17, if you count my brother, Edek, who is lost. Went on Ruth, Bronia is my sister, and the others are children at my school. They are all half dead from hunger, but they want to learn and have nothing to write on. And I want to find Edek. He's been lost for 2 years. The officer waved some paper at her. See this? They contain information about missing people, about 10 to each page, but it's an impossible job. Perhaps I will burn the lot. Don't do that, said Ruth. The writing is only one side of the paper. We can use the back of it at my school for writing on. The officer laughed, and Ruth laughed too. I will take the information about your brother, he said, but I warn you, nothing will happen. Thank you, said Ruth. Come back tomorrow, said the officer. She came back the next day, and the guard, Ivan, was waiting for her. He had sugar, bread, and 6 blankets to give her. Sign your name, he said, and put your address. She wrote Bombed Cellar and told him where it was. A week later, Ruth was preparing a birthday tea. Most of the children had been invited. Suddenly, she heard a noise and ran out to find Jan fighting with a soldier. The knife in Jan's hand was near the soldier's neck, and Jimpy the cocker was biting the soldier's ankles. Jan, drop the knife, she cried. She threw herself into the fight, and they all fell on the ground. Ruth knocked the knife from Jan's hand. That's a nice welcome, isn't it? Said Ivan the guard as he picked up his cap and brushed dust off. Ruth picked up the knife. Don't you understand, Jan? She said, they are our friends. They are soldiers, said Jan. They are Russian soldiers, not Nazi. They have come to make us free and to look after us. I hate all soldiers, said Jan, and he wouldn't come back into the cellar when the others went inside. I have some information about your brother, Edek. Ivan told Ruth. He is in a camp in Posen. Ruth threw her arms around his neck and kissed him. Thank you, thank you. I have brought a birthday present for you, he said. It's some chocolate. What chocolate? Said Bronya. Suddenly, Jan appeared at the door. He was crying. Don't cry, boy, said Ivan. I'm not angry. Jan was holding out his little wooden box. It was in pieces. You fell on it and broke it, he cried. I will mend it for you, said Ivan. Jan shook his head angrily and something fell from the broken box. It was a silver sword that Joseph had given him more than 2 years before. Ruth picked it up and looked closely at it. Where had she seen it before? Then she recognized it. It was her birthday present her father had given to her mother before the war. Then she too began to cry. More tears, said Ivan. Excuse me, while I go outside and fetch my umbrella. And he went away wondering what it was all about.